It is a service industry. We're here to serve our tenants and our residents, and we're here to serve our owners. If you don't get the feeling that you're being served, I would say that that's a pretty big red flag.
Clint, thanks for joining the show today. Excited to have you on.
Thank you for having me. I'm fired up.
So J Street Property Management, I believe you're in Dallas, Texas. You got offices in DC also, but I believe you started in the medical device industry and then you ended up here. How did that happen?
That's a wild story. The easiest answer is I feel like it was a divine appointment, but it was wild. I spent 15 years in the medical device world through sales and sales training and then sales leadership, and was looking down the road. And I remember it was about 5 years ago, I was sitting in a regional sales meeting, quarterly regional sales meeting in California. And we were talking about the same issues we've been talking about for the past several years and throwing out ideas. And I just really had an epiphany, like, this is not what I expected it to be. You know, I was 37 at the time and well on my way. And it had become an industry, and I was in a role where I wasn't having as much impact as I would like, not being able to make the difference that I would like to make. Everything was really getting consolidated, both on the physician side and on the hospital side. So all the decisions were being made up at the top of these massive companies. And so I felt like I was spinning my wheels a little bit and wanted to get back to something that had more of a relational aspect. That's what I've always enjoyed. That started the search and the journey, and then landed here at J Street a couple years ago and couldn't be more happy about it.
It's awesome. How did you find J Street? How'd you get connected there?
Yeah, so it was actually, what do they say, Latane? It's not what you know, but who you know. So I was able to get connected to a guy who had just bought a real estate company and was looking for someone that wanted to get in and work hard and grow with a good company that had great bones and history and grow it to be into something truly special. That's what I had been looking for the past couple years. I went back to get my MBA from SMU here in town and really searching and reading tons of books. I just got this desire and passion for business and business books and culture and organizational structure, and I just couldn't get enough of it. And so when the opportunity came here at J Street with a company with such a cool story and a plan for building something truly special, I couldn't pass it up.
I like it. No, I'm excited to have you on because we talk to a lot of developers and real estate agents, but property management, I hear people complain about it. It's too hard. I just talked to a guy this morning who has his own property management company, and he was complaining about how hard it is. Now, that could be an opportunity though, right? If it's that hard, maybe people are scared of it. There's an opportunity there. What's the key to being successful in the property management business?
I think and talk about this all the time because property management is not sexy at all.
Like title. It's like title, most boring industry in the world.
That's right. When it comes down to it, it's not rocket science. It's about people and being consistent and showing up and working hard and serving. It's a service industry. And I've been able to see that out in the market, and feedback, just like you said, from a lot of owners, is that nobody cares. Nobody cares enough. Nobody cares as much as I do about my assets and my property. And so that's what we're trying to build here at J Street, a third-party management company that cares and knows how to execute better than any owner could. And it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of opportunity in the market for sure.
Yeah, I mean, our business, title industry, is about people also. With that said, we're always looking for that technology that's going to make things easier for our people. What are your favorite or least favorite technology plays and assets that you guys are using to help you manage all your properties?
Yeah, so it's been a super hot topic in the property management world. The term you hear a lot is centralization that gets thrown out around a lot. Like, what can we automate? What can we help from a central location that we can take off of the property's plate? There's a lot to juggle out on site, whether it's a commercial asset or a residential asset. And so we're constantly looking at those things. In fact, we just attended a show last week, spent 3 or 4 hours meeting all the new tech companies, vendors about technology. So there's a lot of activity in the space. So, and there are a lot of things that we've already deployed, whether it's in recruiting or accounting or HR. There's a lot of opportunity, and a lot of it sounds great, and you try to implement it, and it's very hard. You have systems that don't talk to each other, and you end up creating more work for your people. We're going to stay on top of it and keep looking hard and keep working on it. But at the end of the day, it's how can you take some of the repetitive tasks, the non-personal tasks off your people's plate and get them back to serving the residents, serving the tenants, taking care of the people you have in your building, and bringing new ones in. So
Is there one, let's call it an app or some type of software that maybe you're using or not using that it's interesting? It's like, wow, for example, I don't even know if I'm in a building, I'm going to make up like 100 units in an apartment, I have an issue. I mean, is it obvious where I go if I have an issue? How do you guys manage that process?
I don't think we've gotten there with technology on finding on-site like mechanical issues. We've sat in a lot of pitches and talked to a lot of people about systems that can monitor for leaks or observe bills to see if something's going wrong. And we haven't deployed a lot of technology in that area yet. We still rely on our people who know these assets intimately well and are there every single day to keep their ear on the ground to that stuff. A couple of places we have implemented some technology that's been really interesting and useful. One is in marketing. So getting residents or potential residents. I don't know how familiar you are with the DFW market, but there's a lot of supply on the ground right now. And so there's a lot of demand, a lot of people looking for apartments, but there's a lot of apartments to choose from, right? So how do you get in front of them? How do you adjust your ad spend? Where do you put your marketing budget in dollars? And so we have a software that we use now to help parse some of that out, depending on the submarket, depending on the market, where we should lean, what dollar usage is more productive to get people's eyeballs and people to walk on your property so they can get a feel for what it would be like to live there and how you're going to serve them. So that's one that's been really great. Another one that comes to mind is some fraud prevention software. There's some fraud in rental apartments these days where folks, there always has been. I used to lease apartments back in 2007 before I got into medical device.
Yeah.
And so I got to see this firsthand, but fraudulent pay stubs or fraudulent applications that are filled out. And so when you're trying to qualify residents, it can be really tough. And so there's some new software we employed on some of our properties that does a deep dive into the potential residents' business, right?
Yeah.
Their bank accounts, what they're spending. If a resident says, "Hey, I don't have a pet, I'm not going to pay your pet fee," but they've spent, X number of dollars at PetSmart every month for the past year and a half, that's going to trigger. So just some cool technologies like that. There's also some cool technology on the development side. We have a small development arm that you can employ to help find sites. I mean, there's a lot of really cool tech out there that we're trying to review as much as we can as we're busy doing our day jobs.
I get it. For those people that don't know, like, what goes into property management? Are you guys you're finding the people to rent the locations? Are you fixing issues? What else occurs that maybe people out there don't know is involved with the day-to-day of property management?
There's a lot. And so again, two sides of our business, commercial and multifamily. So commercial is a little bit different in that we're not doing the leasing, right? So what we're doing in commercial property management is taking care of the tenants and the owners, communicating with the owners, right? So it's everything from collecting checks to planning capital expenditures for the next 5 years, getting reporting to owners on their financials in a timely fashion. So there's a lot that goes into that on the commercial side. Obviously, fixing any issues that come up with leaks or roofs or windows or angry tenants or the neighbor that thinks that you're taking too many parking spots. I mean, there's a lot that goes into the day-to-day of that. And then on the multifamily side, do handle the leasing as well. And so it's knowing your submarket, it's marketing to the local businesses, it's building a community is what we try to focus on at J Street. There's thousands of apartments that anyone could lease and live in out there. So how can we be different? How can we stand out? And how can we serve our residents better? How can we create an environment for them to feel like they're coming home and they have a friend and they have someone that's watching their back and taking care of their packages and saying hi to their dog when they walk in? And so it's trying to build that community where we feel like we can differentiate ourselves as a management company. But what goes into property management, that list is very long, sir.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Where do you spend most of your time?
I spend most of my time either in the office or out visiting with our on-site teams. So my job is the vice president of partnerships is to find and identify clients, potential clients of ours that fit with us. We're not a massive property management company. There's a lot that are bigger than we are. And those are the household names in the industry. And a lot of times when someone's getting their first deal or second deal, or they have, a big institutional owner that owns stuff all over the country, it's a lot easier to hit the easy button and call one of the big boys. And that's great. They're obviously very good at what they do. We're more a company that has a boutique feel, that has personal relationships with our clients, but also some scale and some experience. Someone that's maybe looking for a more personal touch, a more personal approach than just hitting the play button and running their program. We like to listen and get to know our owners and what their goals are, and get to know the submarkets and help them formulate a plan. We always say we like to turn the Rubik's Cube for the ownership so they don't have to. One of the biggest things that we hear out in the market is that, hey, I hired this property management company to manage my apartments or my office building or my retail center or whatever it may be. And they're just sitting around waiting for the phone to ring. They're waiting for us to bring them solutions into how we could run this property better when we're hiring them, so they'll bring the solutions to us. And so we try to get out on the front of it and be more proactive and less reactive. It's worked really well so far.
All right. So we have a section here, rapid fire questions. I'm just going to fling them at you. Best real estate advice you've ignored, and we're glad you did.
I had someone tell me not to get into property management 2 years ago. So again, it had been 15 years in medical device. And so when I got the opportunity to come work for J Street, I was calling around to my network and people that I trusted. And the guy told me, like, kind of what we were talking about earlier, property management's awful. Don't do that. Plus, it's really hard right now. There's a lot of eyeballs on operations. Costs are exploding, and something better that you could go do. And I'm glad I ignored that, because it's been really fulfilling and awesome for me.
One thing you'd never do again in a deal.
It's not trust my gut. Sometimes there's some really attractive opportunities that you run across in this business. And, you have that feeling like, I'm not sure I believe this person. So it's overlooking issues or concerns you have about a potential partner. All the time you're working with partners on these real estate deals. And if you can't trust them, if you're not aligned, then that can be a big red flag. So that would be mine.
One market you think it's overhyped currently? I'm
going to say Dallas. I'm going to say Dallas-Fort Worth. It's where I live. I love it. It's great. We hear from all over the country that this is where capital wants to be. There's a lot of supply right now in Dallas-Fort Worth. Macroeconomics are really good. Part of the reason I'm saying this is probably so other people will stop doing deals here. But Dallas gets a lot of hype nationally.
What do you think the reason is that there's so much supply currently?
Since COVID, it's a very business friendly environment. Texas, it's a great place. I've lived here my whole life. I grew up in San Antonio and then went out to East Texas, just outside of Houston, then came up to Dallas back in 2007. And so I've been here my whole life while I was living in West Texas. And so I've been all over the state. It's a great place to raise a family. It's just a great place in general. And really all throughout the Sun Belt, is what they call it. It's seen explosive growth, especially since 2020. And Dallas is very diversified. It's a real city. It's just a great market. It's very diverse. It's got a lot of industry, a lot of different types of industry. It's just a great place to be. I think that's what's led to all of the attention and all of the development that has come. Up until a couple of years ago, there was no reason not to. Everything was going up and to the right. And so we're still dealing with that right now. A lot of supply on the ground in all different sectors, but long-term, still an amazing place to be, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, so many people moved to Texas in general, as well as Florida during COVID. I mean, are the stats showing that people are leaving, or, has it been, are they not leaving, but is there not much growth? What does that look like lately?
People are still coming here. The in-migration has slowed since COVID. I mean, it was bonkers, but the development had just outpaced the growth for a while, but it'll catch back up. I mean, DFW still had the highest absorption of apartments this year. And so nationally, so there's still a lot of people moving here and still a lot of people that like living here. And so I think it'll be that way for a long time.
All right. So looking to hire a property management company, what's the biggest red flag if you're looking to evaluate one?
I would say the biggest red flag, just to take it down to a very basic level, is it is a service industry. We're here to serve our tenants and our residents, and we're here to serve our owners. If you're not getting that feeling, either when you walk on one of our assets that we're managing, or if you call up to the office, you're an owner and you want to know what's going on, if you don't get the feeling that you're being served, I would say that that's a pretty big red flag. There's a lot of companies that start drinking their own Kool-Aid and think that they're more important than they are. At the end of the day, we're here to do what our owners need and what our tenants and residents need.
Yeah, one thing I talk about a lot is no matter what business you walk into, that first person, that first energy, that first face creates the mindset and the experience for any type of business you go into. How do you motivate or incentivize a good personality? I mean, I'll say this. I went to Chipotle recently. I've never seen a guy more unexcited to be there. And I'm thinking, man, I mean, I know they're a big company. They know what they're doing. How do they manage that? Is that something that can be controllable?
I think so. And I think a lot of that that goes into hiring. And a lot of that also goes into sharing the vision with everybody in your company. Where are we going? What opportunities are you going to have here? Why are we doing this? That's something that I think a lot of employers in all industries miss. They want the troops to just do their job. And I think that that's something that's a big miss, because if you're a leasing agent in an apartment building or a engineer on an office building, and you think that the work that you're doing is nothing more than collecting a paycheck and being here from X time to X time, that's not fulfilling. That's not exciting. That's not going to make you want to work harder or serve better, or you don't feel like you're a part of something. So how can you make everyone at your company feel like that they're a part of a bigger mission? And so we've spent a lot of time on that the past couple of years as a leadership team, talking about where are we going and how are we going to get there, and what kind of people are we looking for? What are our core values? There's a lot of people roll their eyes when you talk about culture and core values, but it's something that we've thought a lot about and talked a lot about and refined to get to where we feel like we can help identify people on the front end that are joining our company, and then talk to people that are already at our company about, and if they don't align with our core values, and service is our first core value, right? If you're not a servant and you don't want to be part of a team and help people, if you've got too big of an ego or whatever, that's okay. There's a place for you, but probably not here. And so that's been really helpful for us as we're trying to build a company that gets up out of the chair when you walk in the door and answers the phone and asks how they can help and listens, rather than giving off the vibe that your Chipotle guy gave you.
What's one thing that owners get wrong about third-party management?
I think one thing that they get wrong, it's having realistic expectations. The market is the market. So I think a lot of people are quick to point at property management when performance on an asset starts to decline. So setting expectations properly is a big one. And another one I hear a lot of is, if you want something done right, you got to do it yourself. A lot of ownership groups out there who are starting their own property management companies because they don't think there's a good third-party management company out there, or haven't found one, or don't believe that anyone's going to care as much as they do. I think that's one that I hear a lot that really kind of twists the knife in me as we're trying to build a legit third-party property management company that cares.
You guys are in Dallas, you're in DC. Is there another market you guys are interested in or looking to invest in?
Yeah, we love Florida. We've looked around out there quite a bit. We love Chicago. We manage a couple assets in Chicago. Chicago's a place that we really like right now, but those are the top couple that come to mind outside of where we already are.
So you guys are managing over $1 billion in AUM across, the country. How do you create that kind of small market feel when you're managing that stuff?
That's exactly what we're trying to do. We've got a big footprint and growing. And so we talk about it every single week. How can we scale a company and have it still feel boutique? So it's what I mentioned before about communicating with your teams, hiring the right way, getting everybody aligned on the mission and vision and goals of your company. It's reinforcing that. And then it's also, like we talked about earlier, it's implementing technology that helps standardize where we can, no matter the market, and then have people with boots on the ground who really understand the market and the nuances and how we should do things differently in those markets. And so it's definitely a balancing act, and it's hard to pull off, but it's really fun.
People that want to work with you, what's the best way for them to find you?
LinkedIn is a great place to find me. jstreetps.com is our website. You can look us up on there, and we're on all the social channels as well, or you can just email me at cwilliamson@jstreetps.com. I'd love to hear from you.
Well, hey, look, I appreciate you taking the time to chat with us about, it's a subject of property management we don't talk a lot about on this podcast. So it's good to get a different perspective and for people to see the challenges, the opportunities that exist out there.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a tough business, but we like it that way. If it was easy, anybody could do it. And we think there's a real opportunity to do it differently. And we're working really hard on doing that. So thank you for having me on. I appreciate it, and look forward to doing it again.
Sounds good, man.